do that?
The ones with boards when they do something.
Push and hold for about a second. I won't all agree with that. Sorry, that was a good one, Mr. Chairman. Hold it for a second. Yeah, all the components sequentially. Sequentially. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Listen, I thought I was being rude. No, it was. Me too. What is it?
Is the bottle.
Still dragging hold the mics too.
Nothing?
The mics work? No, that doesn't work. Nothing works. Mics don't work? Nope.
And there's green lights on it, but that bottom light is not, there's nothing coming on.
There he is.
Well, repaired. It's frustrating.
Is it plugged in?
There's
It usually is.
Got a minute left.
Was this a red light district there?
It's just, that's wrong. We're not gonna give Carlene another. She can-
Wow.
All right. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. We haven't had more than 2 people in about 5 months, so I'm a little intimidated. Julie, if you could call roll.
Mayor Flower,
Here.
Alderman Berry,
Here.
Kiefer,
Here.
Spreezy. Here. Sir,
Here.
Holloway,
Here.
You got one more.
and
Come on.
Murray. Present, sorry. Hello.
Hello.
President Baker. I'm sorry, Craig's distracted. Could we do the, do we have anybody that has questions, any additions, anything on the minutes from our June 2nd meeting? Or is there any motions on it?
I'll make a motion to the minutes if there's
Let's
no.
let him do his last
There's,
meeting. I'll make a motion. You
There's
can't even let him make the motion on his last meeting? You guys the first it. It's a little fast.
It's all about him. It's all about him.
Could have been a, yeah, could have been a Brian.
We want to
Bob,
say-
Alderman Spreezy is pointing out that the minutes have inconsistencies. Yes. It says I'm in the roll call, but then it says I'm absent.
It's hard to do.
I know, but even for
All right,
me,
so you're trying to clarify the minutes in a minute that you're not there.
correct.
She wasn't here last time, so we're just clarifying that on the minutes. All right. It's gonna be a long meeting. All right, do we have a motion?
I have a motion.
Second. All right, so a motion and a second on the minutes from the June 2nd meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That's great. All right, we have approved the minutes last meeting. Now, Julie, if you'd read the abstract of the votes from the June 2nd, 2020 election.
The official results of the general municipal election of June 2nd, 2020 are Alderman Ward 1, Jerry Dykeman, Alderperson Ward 2, Kevin Kilpatrick, and Alderperson Ward 3, Jerry Howard.
All right. So we need, that's what we need to do, the swear on those. So the 3 of you guys that are back have to get up.
The transition time.
Transition.
Yeah.
Wait, the new ones, everybody who's.
Jerry.
You're still here. They gotta get up.
Jerry,
They gotta
Jerry.
go take their oath of office.
All of you gotta do it though, right?
Jerry.
All at the same
Jerry,
time?
Jerry.
Yeah. Three.
You guys will stand here
So
facing
Kevin,
the camera.
We're gonna have you guys stand 1, 2, 3 like in front of me.
Try to be
back me,
distant from each other.
6 feet.
Huh? You can't hear anything back there?
Slow.
Let's just pick up the
Oh,
recording.
okay.
So bear with me, this is my first time. Okay, so I state state your name, do solemnly swear
I,
Jerry
Holloway,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Missouri,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Missouri,
the ordinances of the city of Eureka,
the ordinance of the city of Eureka,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office
and I will faithfully perform the duties of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right, in true fashion, we switched, so the guys that just got on the board, you go take the seats, I guess, to place the guy you replaced. And then you guys, if you and Bob would go up by those two mics, they just got sworn in, we had a couple things for you.
break. I'm gonna plastic this time.
I think the mics are back on.
Hello.
All right,
They have to be turned on. Just switch on.
I think they're on now. Can you guys hear better now? Yes. All right, that's fantastic. All right, so we had, number one, I went out and spent a couple hours picking out some gifts for you guys at the store. It's not easy this time of year, so we got the lovely blue bag. A couple mementos. Brian. Put you down on the, all the different, that's P and Z board and all that, so he's been shockingly, and it's got like probably 12 years of total time and all that. Thank you very much. Proud. This one I ran out of years on, so we got the same. 1987, I graduated high school in 1990. So you put in your time out here, Bob. So again, you have a plaque. So we're gonna maybe have you guys scoot in, that's gonna take an illegal picture with you guys. Congratulations, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you guys would stay up here for just a second, when you get done and stay up, we got a couple of guys who wanted to say a few words that have served with you guys for a long time, so they're gonna do that.
Congratulations to the new alderman. I'm here tonight to talk about someone that's been here for many, many years. Bob Berry started a tradition of focusing Eureka's growth on family. He will tell you that this was a team effort and included names new to Eureka such as Giannino, Sable, Key, Coffee, and many others, probably including myself. These newcomers were to build on the successes of the then old-timers such as Butler, Weber, Kircher, Long, Soda Beer, Drool, and the others that founded and incorporated Eureka and the Rockwood School District. There were many, and my apologies to those families not mentioned, but my true thanks to all. Many, perhaps most residents are new to Eureka in the last 30 years. During the time that Bob Berry and Kevin Coffey were mayor and alderman, and then they traded places, alderman and mayor, they do not fully realize their efforts on the challenges they, board, and staff successfully overcame in building our wonderful community. First among those was a new state-of-the-art sanitary sewage plant to meet the needs of the growing city. It was updated again with enlargements about 15 years later. During these years, the water system was also enhanced with new wells, tanks, softening, disinfection, and fluoridation to meet the requirements of our new homes, churches, businesses, and schools. They lobbied and pulled political strings to get a new interchange built at Six Flags to solve a decade-long problem of backups all the way back to Interstate 270. Through their efforts, MoDOT made a special appropriation to build that much-needed interchange, an appropriation of $20 million. New bridges over Corbett Creek and Flat Creek were built. A center turn lane on Fifth Street was designed by Eureka, and with the guidance of Chief Wiggin, built by MoDOT, safeguarding our families and visitors. In fact, every single traffic signal in Eureka has been installed or upgraded in cooperation with MoDOT and in many cases even funded by Eureka during their terms. Roads designed for different times, such as Forby, Central, Bald Hill, Augustine, and Eureka Road, and others were improved or rebuilt with pedestrian needs in mind. In fact, there were very few sidewalks and no trails in Eureka. Old Town section of Eureka was revitalized. It suffered from the decline of small antique stores, the loss of a grocery store, the loss of a hardware store, and even the relocation of City Hall. It is now incredibly successful and the vibrant core of our town and our history. Streets were redone and parking was changed and increased. There were new sidewalks, lights, and storm drainage added. There were no paid park departments when they took office. There were few programs. There were no street concerts, no 4th of July, no park offices, no recreation center, no pool, no ball field lights, or even decent dugouts, and only a few parks, pavilion, playgrounds, or restrooms. All then existing park facilities have been redone with new playgrounds and trails and unique character. At least 6 parks have been added with many features such as state-of-the-art playgrounds, rain gardens, pavilions, and restrooms. There are now children and family programs, senior programs, and meeting facilities. There are now 2 successful business parks where there were none. There was no Sunveo, one of our largest employers. Kevin Coffey and Bob Berry worked with St. Louis County and Missouri to negotiate them away from a dozen other contenders. There was no plaza where our Walmart, Emos, and other businesses are currently located. There was no Snooks Plaza, no Breadco, no White Castle, Quick Trip, Walgreens, Culver's, or Arby's, along with a dozen of other businesses who had come to Eureka. There were no commercial daycare locations. There was no Legends Plaza. As for homes, there were only a few streets in the Legends, and home building was floundering due to existing resident concerns. The plans were redone and vitalized. Other excellent new neighborhoods were built, including Enderbush, Emerald Forest, Forest of Hilltops, Hunter Greens, Ashton Woods, and the Arbors, and other subdivisions and apartments, all with unique qualities and challenges. Schools such as the new Eureka Elementary and Blevins were built, as well as substantial expansion of Eureka High School and Gagey. We have attracted a variety of excellent senior living areas. Many families now enjoying their homes in Eureka do not realize the effort, time, and dedication to those who got us to where we are. We are a town noted for our safety, schools, parks, and mostly our warmth. We have done all this due to many years of diligence, skill, and caring. My thanks to Bob Berry, Kevin Coffey, Craig Sabo, Chief Wiggin, Ralph Lindsay, and many others who have gotten us here. A wonderful town with an exciting future. Sincerely, Marilyn Leisner. And Bob, congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for being a wonderful friend over the years.
Thank you, Marilyn.
I was asked also by Mary Berry to say a few words about Bob. It's hard to top that, and I'll keep it short. And thank you, Marilyn, for your many years. Marilyn, as some may know, was the mayor of Times Beach many years ago, and we worked with her on some of the remediation issues for the contaminants at Times Beach. And she's been a caring neighbor and also a good friend of many. But Bob, what a great inspiration you have been to many over the years, including myself. Your way of bringing true heart into government and leadership has shaped our city with a direction that allowed us to grow, yet still maintain our small town values, our kindness, and unique family that truly is what Eureka is all about. Thank you, Bob, as a partner in government, a constituent, and mostly as a friend. And I truly do appreciate your mentoring initially when I just volunteered for a ton of things, and you taught me the right way to do things.
Thanks.
And I'll say a couple things about Brian. Brian, your heart and soul have been poured into our city. Your volunteerism and hard work are second to none. You are part of what makes our town unique and caring. You represent Eureka in a wonderful way. And to our new board members and our previous board members and Mayor Flower and staff, I'm proud to have this great group up here. I mean, you'll do well. And no city's better.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
You want to say something? Kathy wants to say something.
I just want to thank Mary Berry, Mara, and the rest of the Berry family for giving us and putting us first before a lot of times when Bob should have been doing stuff with them, but, you know, he was on the phone with constituents, and I know that you guys over the years have put up with a lot, and we really do appreciate you loaning us, but he's yours now. Enjoy.
Thanks.
All right, folks, we've got guest period coming up, so I know I saw a couple of people that signed in, or I think we got some cards, so if anybody, this is non-agenda items, if you just want to come up and talk, feel free to come up. Just, yeah, if you're ready, come on up, whoever's up.
You just state your address.
Who are
You
you?
just get up there and talk, we'll figure out time.
I'm Ferrari 17641 Rockwood Harbor Drive. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations, Jerry, and Kevin, Brian, Kevin. Seriously, congratulations, good luck. I was here to support. I have two things and a comment. So one, when I left the meeting the other night and went down the hill, I almost took out a family of 5 on bicycles. They came out of the parking lot from the daycare, which is an exit only, but there's no signs there. One more second, I took them all 5 out. I don't know if we can put a sign there or something that says bicycle traffic stop or car stop. We're gonna get busier up there on that road. Part 1 in Throat. Oh, just a stop sign or something at the parking lot. Allenton Bridge. The lights are out of sync. They've been out of sync for a while. Twice I've been pushed off. So I did send an email and I made a phone call, but I was gonna let you guys know, maybe you can up it on your radar. There's 4 lanes going onto the bridge. 1 is a yield. The 2 left lanes are turn lanes. The 2 lights should say turn, but they don't. They say straight ahead. So the people in the middle lane look at the light and they go straight with you and boom. So if we could look at the lights, that'd be helpful. Why I'm going into legends, don't ask. And just a question. So we're gonna, you okay with that? The water, when we have general meetings for the water, like for the residents, is there a way, or have you thought about doing an FAQ, frequently asked questions beforehand, so all of the big questions that are asked all the time aren't asked in here that night? So people, because in my neighborhood, I'm getting the same questions all the time.
We're working on that as far as there's gonna be a repost of, and the only issue is I'm trying to make it, so some of the questions kind of fall into opinion versus other.
True.
So what we're trying to do is we're probably gonna have something that's a separate one that comes up, and it might be more through me or through OEM or somebody goes through, because some of them are about things they're gonna do that they're agreeing to do, so I'm trying to find the right format, but that'll definitely be, we're gonna try and take the same, because I get the same, one like the same, it's not bad, it's just there's about 10 or 12 real basic questions that people get into.
Yeah. and
So we're just trying to get those up there, and we'll try and get those out, and I think there's gonna be some short, kind of like we did with that property, where you got some short videos, short stuff, those say, here's your question, here's an answer, and that way we're not, that way you're able to ask good questions. And you're able to follow up.
That's it. Thank you. Thanks for your
Problem
time.
time. Thanks. Come on up.
My name's Ken Evans. This is Sean Archambault. First off, I want to say thank you all for your service and what you do for this community. We live on Forby Road. I live right on 311 Forby Road in Sean lives
113 West.
one on North Street. And for the last 6 years, there's been a supposed development going on behind our homes. I don't know if you all were aware of that. It was a Dale Hicks property, and that property, I believe, has since been taken over by the bank. For 4 years, it has literally sat, just looks like a desolate wasteland. Before he started the project, it was a beautiful area of trees, hillsides, and now literally it is just mounds of dirt. And just recently did he finally remove some of his construction stuff out of it. It's been sitting there for 4 years, literally from here to that wall. I have about a 30-foot high, just dirt pile I look at. Sean looks out his window. If you look up the street to where he supposedly started to build a new road, in back of one of his rental property, there's a 150-gallon diesel gas tank and storage bin. It's just been sitting there. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we can have those within, I don't know if I could just go and get a gas tank and put it in my backyard. But this is the stuff we've been looking at for 4 years. And now I understand that the bank has actually taken the property, or is in the midst of taking the property back. And we just want to know, from a home value standpoint, we want to know what can we do, or what can you all help us do to get this area cleaned up. I know there were some promises made about some things, and it's just, we've sat here for 4 years and looked at just, he started a project and it hasn't been finished, and it doesn't look as though he's got the wherewithal, and I'm not, and Dale's, he's battling some other things right now. I just don't see this ever getting done or completed, and it's hurting all of us up and down that street that live there from a value perspective, from an eyesore perspective. We're just here to ask some questions and try and get some help to see what can be done to get it back. I'm not saying that it'll never get back to where it was.
Could you do me a favor, because I don't have, could you give us one meeting between because I have zero familiar, other than I know what you're talking about, it's a mess. But I could get something from these guys and say, what do we have as far as development plan, what did they leave, do they have an escrow? Is it foreclosed, where they have it foreclosed? I have no information, so anything I would tell you on that would just be guessing, but I know I could, if I got it, and it doesn't have to be all the way to the next meeting, but if I gave them time on the staff to go figure that out a little bit, we could get back to you with a more informed meeting.
That'd be wonderful. I mean,
I just, for this thing, it makes us aware, but I literally have no clue what to say, what happened.
I just want to put a little 2 cents in it.
Sure.
This is my property. 2.5 years ago, Dale came to me and said, I'll take care of you. And afterwards, I heard that from quite a few people. That didn't happen. I'm not here to knock him, but I will tell you, I know a man of his word, and I know a man of not his word. He was definitely not of his word. So my promise to me was that if I gave him some of my land, he's going to knock some trees down, save him a lot of money. When I say a lot of money in retaining walls. My understanding, I may be wrong in this number, but it was $500,000. Other people said, why didn't you get any money out of him? I said, I'm not about money. I'm about doing something good for the whole. And so, my bad, I took him for his word. I have some under contract, Greg, you signed off on it, that they would move dirt and such, and this is 2.5 years ago, so I don't expect you to remember other things you do. But in that sense, he was gonna pull down trees to give me my privacy back, okay? And out of the, I would say out of the, my wife saying, don't do it, I did it anyway. So I'm in a doghouse with no front door for 2.5 years. And I'm waiting to get out of that doghouse. And
So,
that would be one thing.
You can't put that on me, man.
I know, but, I just want to let you know, kind of, if the trees would have went in, I went back to him and said, this was about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I went back and said, I talked to you 3 months ago about just giving me a piece of paper so I can come over and get the dirt. And then, rent something, move it all over. And he said, we never talked about that. And I said, okay, let's say we never talked about it. Let's start over. Okay, went on 2 weeks, and of course, as we all know, he went in the hospital. So, again, and I'm still at the point, and my plans was to sell in 2.5 years. And so that was my point to him. I said, it's May, it's time to sell. I'm not selling right now at least because I've got a problem. And I wanted it to be completely done. So probably next summer, might be this summer, who knows what will happen. But there's a way of fixing it. And I think the best way of fixing it, whoever buys that, that is the city, kind of helps us out by not putting pressure on them, but helping us tell our story to them and say, these are the people that have been made promises. You know, they're given some land to this project, you know, not physically land, but landscaping wise, so the retaining wall didn't have to be built in a big expenditure, and you could still keep that nice and looking layout. So that's where I stand on it. I would like it to, even if I get a piece of paper from the new guys and say, hey, you can have all the dirt now, come over with the bulldozer and move it and dump it in all the ditches and all that out. You know, when it was all said and done, the money that he was saving, you know, he could have put palm trees on my whole property and he would have been ahead of the game, you know. So that's just kind of an eye-opening, bring awareness to you guys. We want to do something about it. We want to make it, you know, the Eureka that I've lived in and I've started, you know. And I spent a lot of times on Highway FF and clean up that road. And then I look in my backyard and I can't do anything across that one.
If you all haven't seen it, I would encourage you to drive by and walk down this.
Hunter's Ford Road?
No.
Forby Road. Forby Road.
Right.
Across from-
Before it goes out, before it goes
Across
down
from
that.
St.
that-
Andrews. Correct,
that
right.
Big white
Across
house.
from St. Andrews.
Yeah, I've driven it, I've seen it a bunch from the road, but I've never gone back because it's never.
Feel free to walk back there, and I think you will agree. I mean, one time it was beautiful. Walk out my deck and just see forever trees and now it literally looks like a desolate wasteland. And there's still literally this gas tank's been sitting back there for 4 years. Storage bins back there that I know does not meet code or requirements. And then literally it was just a couple weeks ago that some of the construction styrofoam that he uses for his forms finally got removed out of there. But literally from here to that window, my neighbor is a huge just mound of dirt. And it sat there, and I call it Mount Evans now. It's 4 years of nothing. And we're just asking for some help, for some guidance.
We'll dig in, like I said, there's probably a development plan that isn't complete, there's probably an escrow, depending on who the bank or whoever's coming in and doing that. There's a lot of stuff that, like I said, we need to physically look at it, and we need to look at that, and we need to figure out where it is in the process, because that's, again, there are some, but we have, the city has promises that are made to it too, as far as you gotta finish stuff, so we've got some interest in it too.
Whatever you can do.
Yeah, we'll take a look for sure.
Can you repeat your street numbers again?
Mine's 113 West North Street.
Yours?
311 Forby.
Thank you.
We're only 5 houses away. Gonna get that one.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll take a look at it.
Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Brianna Dorr, and I live on Highview Drive. And my backyard faces the new bike park within Coffee Park. I moved to this property in August of 2010, before the Timbers was built. The property was thickly wooded on Eureka Road, frontage village visible from my my backyard. When the Timbers was built in 2013, the buffer to the facility remained, while the pool noise could be sometimes audible, music or otherwise during summer months. I could not see the parking lot or majority of the facility. There remained no increase in foot traffic or other vehicular impact. To my surprise, in March 2020, during the COVID shutdown, suddenly I see large amounts of trees and brush being cleared from Eureka Road side of the property. This immediately increased the amount of noise coming from the property, as there's no longer the natural wooded buffer from Highway 109. One day, I went outside my backyard, actually more than one day, to see large piles of free burning, unattended brush raining down ash on my home and my vehicles, rendering my backyard unpleasant to use because your contractor decided to burn everything that they cleared. And then I realized your contractors are living on the property. We could see tents, campfires, camper, and your parking lot here at the Timbers. The contractor's kids were literally running around the property unmonitored, which was supposed to be closed. Now, my wooded natural backdrop has been replaced with a view of the parking lot, the Timbers building, and an ugly pressure-treated lumber monstrosity. I have deep tire ruts in the rear easement of my backyard from cars parking along Eureka Road that try to access the bike park. Even before the park opened for use, it's been a constant flow of foot and bike traffic due to the changes. I've witnessed several injuries, fights, large assemblies of loitering kids that have caused further unpleasantries. At least one day, I had an unknown adult subject come to the rear fence line asking my 6 and 8-year-old kids how to access the park. I'm very disappointed in the city's use of nearly $200,000, which has had such a negative impact to the use and enjoyment of my and my neighbors' backyards that are alongside the property. Additionally, the lack of courtesy notification to us about the new improvement to the park, as it has affected our enjoyment of our own property. I request that the city erect a privacy fence along the frontage road of the new bike park or financially assist us in erecting one on our properties. I also request that the city designate and erect no parking signs along Eureka Road, north of Forest Hills to south of Coffee Park property, southern property line, to prevent parking on the bike park on Eureka Road. I'm very disappointed in the city and the board for this new development. Unfortunately, Eureka, in our opinion, is a little bit uglier for it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, I'm Tom Hoff, I'm Bree's next door neighbor. I've got a lot of the exact same concerns about the bike park. I also have some concerns about the bike park's impact on the physical stability of Eureka. As this seemed to happen rather quickly, I don't remember any public meetings or votes on it. I was curious as to the bidding process to find the workers who constructed the bike park, who were certainly problematic and would be up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday outside my bedroom window, swearing loudly at each other, using power tools. That was always enjoyable. All the way up to concerns about liability issues. Are we self-insured on this park, or are we carrying insurance to another carrier? It seems to me, looking at it, that it's going to just be a matter of time before someone on a mountain bike has a major accident along Eureka Road and serious injury. It seems to me that fairly easily someone could get off the track, get out of the park, and get hit by a car. So these are concerns that I have. I'd also like to see some, like as Bree said, some screening, some sort of screening or blocking go up to contain the noise, to contain the view. Or failing that, some assistance, considerable assistance from the city in getting something put up on our side of the roadway, which would negate the impact of the bike park.
Okay, thank you.
So can I just say these, really stories is one of the residents with whom I was, whenever I brought this issue up before, at least one of these issues. At least one of these residents was one that whenever I brought up the issue before regarding, you know, parking, bike park just in general, this is one of the residents that I was talking about in regards to that.
Do you have anybody else in the guest period?
My name is Derek Pratt, and address is 403 Williams Road. First of all, congratulations to the gentlemen that were duly elected. Thank you. Sorry we couldn't get more people out there to vote for you guys. Two concerns for me. One, on the 25th, Memorial Day, we had, I think it was about 1.5 inches of rain in a matter of 30 minutes, and I had the river in front of my house again. It was about a foot deep in the middle. And matter of fact, the police department had to come by and get their speed trap or their radar thing for it went underwater, literally. So can we address something like that? I know I'm a broken record here. This has flooded my house twice. This time it did not flood my house, thank God. But I will be going to sell my house in the next couple of years, and I want to get the exact money that I deserve out of my house because I've done a lot of work with it, and this is kind of a problem. You know, I would assume that if any of you have this problem in front of your house, you would be in the same situation. I don't want this any longer. I'm the lowest point, I believe, in the subdivision, and this is the storm sewer system. This is the city's baby, and with us, possibly selling our water and sewer, there might be an influx of money that can fix the system. So hopefully, if that's the way that we go with selling that, then we put money towards maybe fixing certain situations. There is another area in the subdivision, and I'm not sure what the name of the street is. I think it's Maureen, where water comes down, and it is also flooding some other folks coming straight down into their houses. I don't know if that's something that they can do, some kind of like a French drain type thing in the road, or if that's something that can possibly be hit with some curbs to direct the water in different areas. I know I spoke with one of the residents up there, and every time I get hit, she's getting hit before I do. So that's my first main concern. Second question, it doesn't have to be answered tonight, is I have asked once or twice on a forum online. I don't think I've asked it personally here, but there's that piece of property, it was the ranch, Circle Ranch or whatever ranch. Curious why the city paid more than the asking price for a piece of property that is at least 65% in a floodplain. These are our tax dollars. I've never heard the exact reason what's going to be done with it or why it was purchased at a price more than what the actual value was, or the actual people were asking for it. So it's kind of one of those things where if you're asking $5,000 per car and somebody offers you 10, obviously you're stupid not to take it, but when it's the taxpayers' money, why are we paying more for something that is valued less because of it? Thanks for your time. You guys have a great evening.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Can I ask how long you've lived at 403 Williams?
This will be my 6th year, and
how many floods, flash floods have you experienced? We had the two near Labor Day.
The two major ones were it flooded the downtown area. Were the first two, and they actually flooded my house. I went ahead and put $4,800 into my own house to raise, put an egress window, redo my egress window. Thank God I have not had it been tested yet. But this is an occurrence every time there is a large amount of rain at one time. The street for, I would say, 200 to 300 yards between, let's see, I'm the 10th house in, so if you go at least the 8th house in from Augustine, and then a little bit past my house, that area in that three house area, it floods that whole street. And the deepest point is at my house, and I think the deepest point at any point was at least up to my knees, so that's a good 2 feet in the middle of the road. So it's just one of those things. I know nobody's hitting the button to make it rain. I get it.
Did you say your house flooded twice during the flash floods?
During the flash floods,
July
yes.
last year?
That is correct.
So not in April of 2016 or?
I have the actual videos of both videos and pictures of both of those, and I have no problem getting them to you. And with those dates, I don't know exactly when they are, but yes, those two first flash floods that definitely hit downtown, my house. Yes, yes, those both flooded my house. I actually called the city, and don't remember who I talked to, but in a nice way, they basically said, that's an act of God, and I went, okay, I get the rain was an act of God, but God had nothing to do with the sewers going through. Now, I do know that ever since they cleaned out the other creeks and everything, our creek was not one of the creeks that they did clean out. I'm not sure why it is what it is, but this last flash flood, some of the other places that were hit in the previous ones, from what I understand, there was no issues. So if we can figure out,
we've had a couple of flash floods since then. I mean, that's what you're saying, even though.
yeah, matter of fact, the one where the one we were tested really bad, and we were all kind of on pins and needles, that still flooded the.
It floods a street, but it's not doing the damage like it does where it was coming in your side windows.
No, it only happened, yeah, correct, it only happened twice.
And that's by context, those were the two, the first one was bad, the second one, I mean, we had flood, those first two, we had flooding.
Oh, yeah, first
all over
yeah,
your
it
areas
was
that we didn't
crazy.
have. I mean, I had people in Legends that
Sure.
come around the lake.
Yeah.
I had a gal I saw up at
Well, and there was a large amount of water at one time.
Right.
too.
Both,
I think,
that's why I'm saying the 14 and 16
Yeah.
are extraordinary events, and not that you ever want to have water
Sure.
flow on the street, but that clean out, part of the reason that that area is going to affect us, because Flat Creek got cleaned out to that whole area.
Correct.
Which is a tributary, all that water that comes behind and everywhere eventually goes in there. And that's a big part of the reason that that area started to drain better, is because the water actually leaves, it doesn't pile up in there, so even if it ponds more,
is,
it's better than what it was.
is Flat Creek the one that goes behind the
Shell.
the church and all that too? So basically,
It goes, it's the one that drains everything out of the whole side of town, takes it to the river. So
Well, I'm
it's right
trying
by
to-
the trail.
the reason I'm asking, I'm trying to figure out where, because our creek actually goes underneath Augustine and where that,
It all goes into Flat
horse
Creek.
farm there?
Creek.
Is that all,
It all goes into Flat Creek and leaves. So that's why that area, all that clean out is kind of cumulative. We went to the sources of the big areas, and that's why the area drains different now. That's what I'm saying. In 14,
Is-
the two bigger ones, and they were gut busters. They were two big ones. I don't know
Sure.
that anybody could, I mean, because again, it
Well,
wasn't
no,
just
no.
you in that
Five
situation.
inches of water.
When they were, and again, it wasn't just your street, everywhere got tested. Since that improvement's been in, if there's water in the street, but you're not having the same type of incidents we had. I mean, it fills up, but you're a low spot.
Correct.
And obviously, if it was built today, nobody would build it like that.
Sure.
But that's kind of the issue.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where, you know, people see that, you know, they're gonna look at that and go, okay, we understand this point here. You know, it's one of the situations where it was a large amount of water at one time, but even a good inch of water, it fills that area of the road up. So if there's a way that, you know, I'm not sure, if there's a way that we can divert some water in a different area, I just happen to be the lowest spot in subdivision, so.
Right. It just drains out the slower off of there and goes back in the creek.
Sure.
So I mean, but yeah, the only way anything will happen on that area back there is if there's stormwater project. You have to have something big happen, because you don't have, I think you have two inlets in the entire street, coming all the way down both sides, and they kind of be at you.
Yeah, matter of fact, I think the first inlet is at my house.
Right.
Uh,
They're not, I
my-
mean, I've been out there, seen, there's
Yeah.
not much drainage. You got it, I mean, there's definitely an issue, and I'd be lying to you if I said, hey, right now, there's a stormwater project planned.
No,
For that area, we're aware of it, and that's an area that, if there was one, it's definitely an area that could use stormwater improvements, that whole area.
No, totally.
But I don't have a way to wind it
I-
down right now.
And I get that.
We do have a retention basin at Forest Hill that's in between Forest Run and Williams right there.
Yeah.
Even that was completely overwhelmed. You know, the retention basin itself was for
It
those
always
two
is.
events,
It always
two
is.
of the three events that you described.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the one on the 25th on Memorial Day, that basin area was full again. I'm not sure if it actually,
Yeah, it didn't top it.
I'm not sure if it topped it, but honestly, if it's one of those things where, I mean, I've suggested, you know, y'all can buy my house if you want at fair market value, put a hole right there. That's a hell of a retention pond right there if you want, you know. But is there a possibility that that retention basin that you're talking about, is that city property, do we know? Or?
Here's what I tell you on that, we'd have a hard time spitballing how to fix the problem on your street.
Sure.
That's period, so I mean.
No,
I
no,
get 100% what
and
you're
like I
talking
said,
about.
I just wanted to.
No, I'm
bring that
just saying, we don't, I
No.
get, but we recognize that issue down there, and I mean, I would tell you, I mean, both those guys, I've looked at them when they're
Sure.
stormed up.
Well,
I
you were
got people
there
that are over
right
there, so if you're saying, hey, do I recognize there's an issue in that area, 100%.
And that's
Is it an
basically-
area that could benefit from some stormwater? It's probably one of the oldest section streets, yes.
Okay.
How to do it is a very complex thing, so we'd have to get back in, and that's why I said, I try to be honest with you.
No, I get it.
It would take a lot of looking at a lot of different issues.
And that's the same thing you said when you came over to the house.
So-
I just wanted to make sure that, you know, everyone was aware that it is still continuing. I do have pictures of it, so if you wanted some kind of.
And then the other one I was gonna answer for you is on the property that we bought over there. I don't know where the fair market value versus not, because it wasn't listed when we did it, but it's related to flood prevention measures that we're trying to do that would affect the other side, they're kind of on that side.
The reason,
I don't have the ability to lay out all the plans yet, but that'll be part of what we're doing.
and if I'm not, if I'm correct on this, it was paid, it was over $300,000 it was purchased for. Is that correct?
I don't know, she said it was right
It was around 300.
But it
was,
wasn't over the listing price.
Well, at one point, the listing price was $269.9, because I actually considered buying it.
Yeah, and I don't know when that was, but when it was.
We went back and looked at it, we looked at the history of it, and we had some different aspects that we were dealing with, so. I don't know when you saw it listed.
Question was asked, the answer was given.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where we're at with it, is it's something related to flood mitigation, and we'll be able to roll out as we get the rest of the information.
Perfect, thanks for your time.
Cool. Take care. We have any other guests?
I asked Mr. Hawk what your address is?
11 Forest Hill Drive.
Thank you.
Right, we'll move on to the next item on there is the special event permit application for farmers and merchants. Does anybody on the board have questions, concerns? You need to hear from them. It's the same, basically, it's the same event they've been doing for a long time.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Another excellent presentation, BJ. I appreciate it. All right, item 8, I do want the new alderman on there. Do you guys have any questions on that? Because that's an ordinance that's popping up. You guys got what we're doing, so. All right, so that would be authorizing, basically, Dave is, the library's working for the other, for Jefferson County Sewer District, but we're contracting back, so we got the same consistent guys, so. 7. Oh, I did, I'm sorry.
What you do?
7A, so that was the single wireless.
Easy.
Yeah, for the P&Z, so do you want to talk on that one for a minute?
Yeah,
Want a
the,
presentation, or do you think it's helpful, or let you guys go with your part first?
Yeah, the AT&T individual came, talked to our P&Z last week. They basically are not extending the height of the antenna in any way. What they're doing is making improvements to the effectability of their broadcasting. They are, if you look at the facility there, they are only including, there's an area there, it looks like it's an upside down hill. Well, what they did is they took the area that was open, and that's where they're gonna actually put their equipment, so they're not increasing their total size of their plot
Is somebody
area.
from AT&T here? Just come up quickly, just briefly explain what you guys are doing for the board so they can hear it directly.
Yeah, if we got enough of that, we can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good evening, my name is Megan Flower. I'm with Crown Castle. We are the tower owner. And the work that AT&T is doing is they're adding antennas to the tower. And if you look at the compound, it currently looks like an upside down L. So it's kind of like this. What we're doing is we're extending the compound, taking the fence down on this portion and turning it into a rectangle and replacing the trees around it.
Is it going to mean better, connectivity
Yes,
to the people in where I live, that really black hole?
it should. They're adding additional antennas and it will be with upgraded equipment as well.
Will it be more visible or less visible to the residents in that area?
It shouldn't really be too noticeable. We're not, like he said, extending the height of the tower, and where we're extending the compound, it's covered by screening from the trees.
What kind of trees are you guys planning on, or is that something that we have to approve later, or no, like they can just?
It's all part of this if you're doing it now.
But you said you're saying screen by the trees that are there, correct?
You're not taking anything down.
Yes,
We're removing trees because there's currently trees that outline them. A couple of them are dead right now, so we're replacing them with the same type of tree, not the ones that are there.
you know what kind they are?
I'm not sure. They're like an evergreen type.
Never,
Yeah.
well, the reason that I ask is that, I would hope that it wouldn't be something like, that's invasive, whether it be those graft repair or whatever, like if we can go for even evergreen that's like native to Missouri, that's, whatever's native versus cedar. As long as it's not invasive, I don't care.
When's the work supposed to be done?
I'm not sure right at this point. I can get that information for you.
My neighbor who's been texting me, I'm not kidding, even tonight. Can't we talk to AT&T? Can't they do something about it? Because we really are in black hole. All right, that's great.
In P&Z, it was noted to widen the road going towards the site as well.
Are you referring to the driveway access?
Yeah, driveway.
We did a site visit with that because I know that was a concern that was brought up last week during the meeting, and we're more than happy to look into that driveway and work with the city to get it widened. I think the not issue on our end, but it's not AT&T that would be widening it. This is an eligible facilities request, so everything goes towards the scope of work. So I'd be more than happy to work with a contact at the city to go through a different way of getting that widened and fixing that sidewalk.
Whose responsibility would it be to widen it?
Ours, Crown Castle. the application's for AT&T, but they're upgrading the equipment. So this is a maintenance, because there's cracks in the sidewalk as well, and we saw those, so.
So it's basically you're saying that the person's leasing the property to them, you would handle it different than what the AT&T's not gonna do it, but just because they're just leasing the tower space for you guys.
Correct.
Well, the motion that was made at P and Z was the fact that they were approved it with the fact that they would fix widen the driveway and fix the sidewalk. That was the motion and approved by the P and Z.
And address the landscaping issue.
And the landscape.
So that was conditional?
Yeah.
And you're generally, I mean, you don't oppose what they're talking about in the conditions of the sidewalk, you don't have any issue with working with us to do that.
No, absolutely not. I saw the sidewalk pictures, and I think at some point when the man lift went up, it put the cracks in it, so that definitely needs to be addressed. And I spoke with a construction manager who's on that site, and he said he agrees that the tires, a lot of times on those man lifts, are a little bit wider than the driveway, so it is putting the ruts in. I know they put down seed and straw to fix it, but it's a continuous problem, so it needs to be widened. So we have no problem doing it. We're just asking that we can work with the city directly instead of putting it as a condition of this permit.
How would we do two separate things?
I think you would, make a motion to approve AT&T's application, and then the, Crown Castle would agree to work with the city, or the city has the power and authority for, if it's cracked and
So
under.
that would mean the
Sure.
widening of the sidewalk with staff.
Yeah.
To meet that criteria.
And typically, we would work with like the code enforcement.
Right.
On
Like,
getting
when they're saying
fixed.
this is what it's supposed to be, and this is what the.
Yep.
And so it's a motion to approve the petition.
And then we would just deal with this separately in terms of, if it's a cracked up and they're causing problems up there, would be an exterior appearance violation that they would deal with the building department, which I agree.
So we can do it, but we'll just say you're basically agreeing on the record to do the two things.
Yes.
But they're two separate.
Yes, that's a separate thing.
All right. So the motion will be to pass AT&T, and then you're telling us you're gonna work with them on those two issues.
Yes. And I've been working with, I think, Melissa on getting the meeting and agenda and everything, so she has my contact information. She can send it over to code enforcement, and I can meet them out at the site if they want, or we can figure something out.
That's fine. We're gonna get some public works on it. So it's up to this, right, that would be the motion for somebody.
You want me,
to close.
I'll make the motion that we approve the AT&T contract as presented, with the fact that the city and AT&T would work separately.
Crown Castle.
Okay.
Correct, yeah, that's correct, to widen the driveway and fix the sidewalk.
One second.
We have a motion and a second. And the landscaping. Motion and a second on that, or we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you so much.
No problem, thank you. We're not related.
I was gonna ask, is there a conflict of interest?
Yeah, that'll be the next one, there we,
All right.
I always wanted to own AT&T. All right, I was gonna go back down to the ordinance for the wastewater operation system, so we have a motion on bill number 2659, authorizing us to enter that agreement.
Make a motion that we read Bill 2659 for the first time or short title.
We have a second, anybody?
Second?
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
An ordinance to authorize entering into an agreement with the Jefferson County Public Sewer District for wastewater system services.
I make a motion, we read bill 2659 for the second time by short title.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
An ordinance to authorize entering into an agreement with the Jefferson County Public Sewer District for wastewater system services.
I make a motion, we read bill 2659 for the third time by short title.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
An ordinance to authorize entering into an agreement with the Jefferson County Public Sewer District for wastewater system services.
Make a motion that we adopt Bill number 2659 into ordinance by roll call vote.
Second.
Alderman Kirkpatrick,
Aye.
Dykeman,
Yes.
Esposito,
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
Holloway,
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Bill 2659 has been approved, and it will bear ordinance number 25 5:45. Now moving on to item 9 on the agenda, you have Bill 2660, authorizing entering into a contract for the park drainage improvements. And again, this would be fixing the main creek that runs through all the ball fields and all the main legions. It's Legion on that side, or I don't know why I can't. But Legion on that side and finishing up all the stormwater improvements we have there. So we talked about the last meeting. So we have questions or a motion on that, or you want to?
I'll make a motion that we read Bill 2660 for the first time by short title.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
An ordinance to authorize entering into a contract with Ideal Landscape Construction for park drainage improvement services.
I make a motion, we read Bill 2660 for the second time by short title.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
An ordinance to authorize entering into contract with Ideal Landscape Construction for park drainage improvement services.
I make a motion, we read Bill 2660 for the third time by short title.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
An ordinance to authorize entering into contract with Ideal Landscape Construction for park drainage improvement services.
I move that we adopt Bill 2660 into ordinance by roll call vote.
Second.
Alderman Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Bateman,
Yes.
Skrewsy,
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
Holloway,
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
What is the ordinance?
It was 2660 was the ordinance, and it'll bear, I'm sorry, Bill 2660 will bear ordinance 2546. All right, and then Board of Aldermen, President appointment. This one, I don't even remember anymore, but I did this one. They're doing that one. This is on your own, fellas. This has got to be uncomfortable, isn't it, Wes? Wes is currently, correct? Wes is currently, but I mean, it's up to you guys. I don't know what you think about how he did this last couple of years or not. I mean, I think it's open for debate, so it's,
What is the job of the president?
Just to conduct a meeting if the mayor is not here, or is unable to act.
They actually have to be on the board now.
Do we nominate you, or what do we do?
You have to nominate.
I'm gonna nominate Wes.
I second.
You don't want to do it, Jerry?
Not yet.
We got a double Jerry nomination.
Jerry.
CJ, it's our first time up there, very excited. All right, we have motion and second to appoint Wes, sir, to Board of Aldermen President. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Excellent. All right.
Bingo, bingo, bingo.
How many hours a month do you think it's been?
Well, outside of that, we run the meeting.
Sometimes I call him Bill. Right, all right. So we've got bills. Anybody have any questions on bills?
If there are no additions or deletions,
I have a question. Of course I do, right?
No.
The water meters,
thank you.
sorry, on the bills for approval, the fourth one down, the water meters for the Timbers Rec Center, for $12,581.15. What's that for? Like, why water meters? Was it something that, was it an expected expense? Was it a?
Those are the metering, because we never had meters on any of our facilities. So we didn't know how much water we used. So those are the costs associated with trying to get our buildings metered. So we did that throughout the whole system. So we did City Hall, any place that took in water. So that system was more complicated here just to get it hooked up. So that's the ability now to tell, it's basically just be able to tell what we use. And that would be whether we use it on the, whether it's involved in the sale or not. We just had to, that was another issue, like with the leak. When we had that going on here, you don't have a way, without a meter, you don't have a way to tell whether you're leaking or not. You just see the water out.
So then with that, is that, would that technically be improving the value of our current system?
I just think it's, to me, it's one that, it's just, it's a minimum expectation of your system. And we're in a weird spot, because there aren't a lot of places that do their own utilities, but like, for instance, one of the things when I first got in with, talking to Barb on the accounting for the water, she would have a large amount of water that we didn't bill for. So you can't tell, you don't know, is that leaks in the whole system? Is it just waste? Like, is it somebody picking up water? But the problem was we had a big hole because we didn't measure our own water use. So you couldn't tell it'd be better if you could tell all the water you billed, and then you could tell what you actually use yourself. When you think about that, I mean, like the pool got filled every year and we didn't know how many, so that's kind of basically, I think it improves it. So I don't think it's wasted money, but it makes it so you can actually tell what's going on with your system.
The other benefits too, you'll know how much water you are using.
Right, it helps us evaluate, like in the sales setting, we'd have no idea what our water bills would be as a city without having to be.
And whether we should be doing other things too, use those ones.
Right.
Okay.
Can definitely kind of determine.
But no, that's a good question, because it's another, again, another one of those expenses you have in the system.
What was that?
All right, do you have any other questions on bills or?
No, I'm good.
Carry on. There are no additions or deletions. Second, they will approve the bills.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we gotta do the same thing on recurring expenditures. Any questions on that?
Again, if there are no additions or deletions, I move that we approve the recurring bill.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Done, all right, and then, we'll go around with the comments. Jerry Dykeman, if you have any comments, you don't have to have any comments.
Bob already left, but I want to thank him for his 30-plus years of service. And I appreciate all the votes from the Ruth residents. That's what I got.
Don't want to say anything to the kids or anything?
Oh, and I love my wife and kids.
Thanks for it. By crowd, Cameron.
What about mom and dad?
Jerry and your mom.
I said mom and dad. That's implied.
Jerry too?
Well, since we, look a lot alike, we'll have to, remember, we're saying Jerry, we have to be a little bit more direct of which Jerry,
The good looking Jerry.
Well, we'll just, the one with the beard.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just, like to thank the people that, there are some people out here that were in my ward that voted to reelect me again. I served you proudly. I enjoy being on the board. I don't always make the right decisions, but I'm here to listen and to help improve our wonderful city. I've been here for going on 17 years now, and it has grown immensely since I have been here. And we are one of the best cities in the country, and hopefully we'll continue to be that way. So I proudly serve you. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to see if, we could stripe the road, Augustine Road between 109 and the stop sign at Augustine Road, right there at PNC Bank. The shoulders or the trail, we did the one side striping, but we didn't do the other side. And then also, because there's no center, the line there, kind of people are not really staying in one lane. So that would be great.
Just to that intersection?
So the Augustine Road from 109 to the stop sign. So basically,
We need to check and make sure they finished everything that's right. So when you're saying that, I thought they had extra strike.
so they've striped past Legends Plaza entrance.
No, everything, contractors.
Yeah, right. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Only in Eureka?
Reaper Road, not thrown in residential.
Through that section.
No, that
Through the-
section had
I
those.
think that's a trail line.
Section had, but a lot of, some of it is.
Isn't around the corner, that sharp corner there? Isn't that always been straight?
I think
It's-
there's,
Is it striped?
That first part.
right at the front is, but I think we could, I don't have a problem looking at it.
There's people basically turning into PNC Bank from 109 and there's just, there's an issue.
Yeah, that's not.
So there's that. And then I would like to say kudos to the Eureka High School students. I think that we have some wonderful leaders here, and not here at the meeting, but wonderful leaders in our community. The Eureka High School students who organized the march and the police, how they worked with them and everything. Like I said, I think we have some great leaders in our community, and I can't wait to see what other passions they have. So that's it.
Well, I would like to thank everybody who supported me for running. I'd also like to thank Brian Kiefer. I think especially in this day and age where there's so much contentious politicking, certainly Brian treated me as a friend through the whole process as I did him. I told people publicly that I was a little bit bittersweet to win this election because I do care about Brian's commitment to the city and the efforts that he put in, which is just gonna make me have to work that much harder. So I thank you and I thank my family and my treasurer. I'd like to recognize Eric Nesbitt, a neighbor who helped as well. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna actually ask about was the AT&T service, honestly. It's ironic, but
We're just way ahead of you.
really, this weekend.
For railroad crossing. I'm gonna keep bringing it up,
Something new.
something, you know.
I'd like to talk about that vote about the president.
We did get a reply back finally from MoDOT on the intersections there at Central and Fourth and Central and Fifth Street. And, I mean, you know, they're saying it's not a priority for emergency repairs. I mean, God forbid, I mean, it's been that way for years, so I don't know what emergency they would consider it, but, you know, I just can't believe that, you know, they're down half mile away from that intersection. They can't come out there and patch those potholes. They can't fix the little island there where the signs are at. Yet they can go out there and have 6 or 8 guys sweeping the interstate
Would they give
yesterday and today.
Would they give us a date?
No,
Why?
because it's not on their calendar to do.
When will they put it on their calendar?
They're working on it. That's all we got.
How do you like having to get
I'm
questions?
happy to call
It's
them
not fun, is it?
every day to ask them that question.
You said Central and Fourth and Central and Fifth potholes, basically?
Yes.
So have you ever seen those gorilla planters who kind of go out at night and plant flowers in potholes? Not flower, it's a joke, guys, it's a joke.
Crazy.
No, have you seen that where people go out and actually plant, like potted flowers, but not in pots, just like kind of level, so it's like, hey, if there's gonna be a pothole there, might as well put a pretty flower to make people aware.
But, and then, you know, I also have to move out the stop
We
sign.
don't recommend that in the middle of the
No,
road.
no, I don't recommend that in the middle of the road, it was, I was
So
just,
making that clear to the large at-home audience. Do not plant flowers in the middle of the road. Go ahead, Les.
I talked to him about the stop sign leading into the plaza there. The comment on on June 12th was hopefully by the time you see this, that sign will be fixed, and it's still not fixed. That was the 12th, they said it would be fixed, but it's not. And the storm drain is still crushed. They say that there's issues with drivers, truck drivers, I guess, but you know what, I mean, are they gonna leave it there with what's I can't think of the term now. The barbed wire, not barbed wire.
Rebar.
Rebar sticking up out of the deal so that, you know, kids walk by there, all kinds of people. I just can't understand why they can't fix things when they're just less than a half mile away from it.
Well, continue to call MoDOT, or the railroad, I'm sorry. We can call MoDOT too. We got something else. All right, and my only comment was again, congratulations to the new guys. I do quickly, it's a lot of work, it takes a lot of work to run. I appreciate you guys doing it, and I look forward to working with all you guys. And I would say too, especially the existing board members, this has been, as we're kind of starting to come out of all the virus, this has been the longest year of my life as far as like decisions and different things that are going on. I really appreciate you guys hanging in and your ability to kind of work through a lot of different stuff we've done the last 4.5, 5 months. I look forward to starting to dig in on some of these long-term issues again. So I did want to mention though too, I've had a tremendous amount of people ask about the timbers and facilities because they're starting to see some of that. So I think that's something we need to be talking about internally about those restrictions and what we think we can do on that over the next this month. But other than that, that's not what I said. So that would be the end of the comments. When you need to know, need somebody to go into close, make a motion.
so moved.
A second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Now we're going to closed session. You can say goodbye to your family and stuff like that. Not yet, let's get it. Let's get it.
You're working on it?
Give it some time. Yes.